Hey guys, Youngblood with you for another episode of Exploring the Starmap. This time we're going to be focusing on a relatively newly discovered system of Kabal. Now I'm going to go ahead and let you know that this one's going to be fairly quick considering we don't really know much about the history of the system because it's been recently discovered and it's currently locked down by the UEE. This system was discovered by UEE surveyors who found the system via jump point from Lear, and the surveyors are right now the only occupying force within this system. Now, the general consensus is that the pronunciation here is Kabal, but some are saying it's Kabal, some are saying it's Kabal, but for the most part, the surveyors all agree on Kabal. Now, the system is in orbit around an F-type main sequence star, similar to ours, though it is a little bit hotter and brighter and quite a bit larger, which means that we end up having a pretty large green band. There's only 3 planets in orbit, with the first being outside of that green band, actually being too close to the star. But Kabal 1 is a protoplanet that's bigger than an asteroid and smaller than a dwarf planet. Then the location is known to be good for mining, with a lot of minerals that are available to be tapped into. However, with this system being locked down, it's going to be hard for you to actually get in and do that until the UEE ends up opening up travel, or if you're maybe able to sneak in undetected. Kabal 1 is oddly shaped, sort of like a potato, so there could be some interesting terrain for you to navigate, and has a rapid orbit around the star. The second planet, Kabal 2, is much like Mars, is covered in a desert without any volcanic activity. However, it does have a pretty strong magnetic sphere in place. It's right in the middle of the green band and ends up being an excellent candidate for terraforming to create a volcanic core and an atmosphere. Now, we don't know if there's resources available on this planet, but a largely untapped and uninhabited planet, I would have to at least assume that there's something of interest here. Now, speaking of interesting items, Kabal 3 is a world that naturally has an oxygen-rich atmosphere, already with some plant life and oceans, and estimates kind of put this place to be at about 2 billion years old, which would be in the rough range of what we know takes for life to kind of develop on its own. Now, while there's no intelligent inhabitants here, the planet is actually covered in abandoned Tevarin cities, and based on architecture and wear and tear, they appear to have been left abandoned at some point during the First War with the Tevarin. Now, we don't know what happened, and it's going to take a lot of research to probably figure it out, but we do have the problem that the Tevarin culture was widely eradicated after the Second War, so there's no books or resources that are going to explain what happened. Now, the popular opinion here is that those that were of fighting age were probably pulled off planet to actually support the efforts in the war, but never ended up returning, which ended up leaving a planet filled with senior citizen Tevarins, which eventually died off. Now, it could have also been disease or famine or some other phenomena, but likely, I guess something else could potentially be like some sort of invasion from another species that forced their hand into leaving, or maybe they just got all killed, but nobody lives there still, so that's probably unlikely. But all we know at this point is what we don't know, because there's nothing real indicative, like fire or blast marks or really anything there to give us an idea. Now, it's possible that some of the Tevarin that have been left over that are now absorbed into the UEE, they may know what happened, but they haven't shared it yet, so it may take some coaxing, and I think that could be a pretty cool thing to happen in-game. Somebody was maybe able to complete the research, tie the pieces together, find the Tevarin that actually know, and then share that discovery across the player base. Now, in regards to what was actually left behind, there is a ton of architecture, relics, ships, weapons, and other machines of war. There are some unsubstantiated claims that there is some Tevarin technology here that's been from within the last decade. That's not confirmed, but people are speculating that's why the UEE has this system locked down. This system is actually of great interest to one ship manufacturer in particular, that being Asperia. And Asperia is known to create human reproductions of alien ships. Coincidentally, quickly after the discovery of this planet, all of a sudden Asperia was magically able to release a reproduction of the Tevarin Prowler boarding craft. Now, it's entirely possible that they got this ship somewhere else in the universe, but that's pretty unlikely. It's more likely that a UEE surveyor in the system gathered the information or smuggled in an Asperia engineer to collect the information, or maybe even more severely would be stealing the ship that Asperia used to create their version. Also in this system is an asteroid cluster that is a mineral-rich field that, while it looks like the Tevarin started to do some mining, it's largely untouched, meaning it's a great location for mining once you're able to actually get into the system. Currently, there's only one jump point in and out that leads to Lear, which is where the sandworm is from the Homestead demo that we saw, and is home to a group of UEE outsiders. Having only one jump point, there is a risk of this location ending up being stranded if that jump point does happen to close. Now, as far as how this system would be used by players, I think there's quite a bit of value here, specifically to miners that want to use the cluster or the first planet that has known minerals, and potentially the second planet as well. That being said, you need to sneak in undetected or potentially bribe your way in to get at those. Now, I think for this purpose, a prospector would probably be better suited, as it would be a lot harder to detect than an entire mining platform going to town. This location being cut off from most of civilization, it could be a potential hideout if you're good at sneaking in and out, or you're able to maybe establish a relationship with the surveyors here. I think once the system is opened up, we're going to see rapid development, which is probably going to require a lot of transportation of goods in to support colonizing the third planet and probably terraforming the second. So those of you that have cargo ships, you should be able to pretty easily find a lot of work bringing items into Kabal. I also see jobs for those that are refueling, to bringing in a starfarer, considering that there's not going to be any spaceports here or gas giants for people to harvest. So they're going to really need that fuel to be able to get in and out, and you're going to be able to sell that at a premium. As well as doing repairs in ships like the Crucible that are maybe damaged in travel. The Banu Merchantman, if you're able to get in, probably has a great chance to make some money, considering the surveyors here are probably pretty cut off, so being able to open up a market to them could net you some big profits. In a system with a lot of mystery, researchers and explorers may want to get in and see what they can find on Kabal 3, not to mention that most systems have more than one jump point, so there's certainly opportunity to open the system up to others. And finally, anytime you see an influx in population and goods coming into a system, there's going to be opportunistic privateers and certainly going to be present. So pirates there, you should be able to get in there and get some stealing of some goods. Potentially doing, if you can get in undetected, potentially steal from the third planet in orbit, getting some of those relics and those items that have been left behind. And anytime we have pirates looking for jobs, you probably have escorts and mercenaries that are going to be in need to protect the law-abiding citizens. So at the end of the day, it's an interesting system with kind of a lot of what-ifs. But I can't help but see good options here to make money either after it's opened or potentially even before, if you can get in and out via sneaking, fighting, or bribing. So that's the Kabal system. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, stay tuned for more coming soon. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and take care.